hours a week? Senior Companion volunteers form meaningful relationships with 5 or 6 people who want companionship and support. Deep friendships often result from the adventures that are embarked upon once you are matched with a senior. Our senior companions tell us that they look forward to their visits as much, if not more, than the folks they are matched with. They love what they do. Helping people feels good. They say they are not just friends, but feel like family. For more information about becoming a senior companion volunteer, please call the helpline at 1-800-642-5119.
Hi, I'm Yvonne from VSECU, a credit union for everybody in Vermont. I think people will be surprised that VSECU offers loans for more than just new and used cars. We finance all types of recreational vehicles, including bikes. Bicycle commuting is popular in Vermont. Mountain, cargo, or electric bikes. We've developed a special financing program to meet the needs of enthusiasts and conscientious people who'd rather transport themselves with dual pedals. You can rely on VSECU when visiting a car dealership and when you're at a local bike shop. Get pre-approved or just come see us after your purchase and we'll finance your new mode of transportation. Finding ways to empower our members who are contributing to their health, local communities, and the well-being of our environment is just another reason why we exist. Make change simply by banking with VSECU. Let's empower possibilities together at vsecu.com.
Federally insured by the NCUA.
At Union Bank, we've been traveling the back roads and main routes of Vermont and New Hampshire for generations. So when it comes to commercial banking, we have experience, services, and the people to get you where you need to be. Union Bank, stay local, go far. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to wdev@radiovermont.com.
The teams you care about.
The Patriots are now closer to the bottom of the AFC than the top. That's a fact.
The stories that matter to you.
Trevor Story, man, he makes the Red Sox much, much better in 2022.
This is your home for New England sports.
I'm just wondering what happens next for UVM, because I think there could be a lot of turnover on that roster.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show here on a Patriots Day Monday on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Full show, all 90 minutes. After the show today, the VT Digger debates for the open spot in the U.S. House, and then Eye on the World at 9. We're going to react to the Kyrie Irving comments from yesterday afternoon. We'll do that in the 6 o'clock hour. I got some I agree with. I got some I disagree with. We'll react to the Red Sox game this morning, the loss that you heard against the Minnesota Twins 8-3, and ESPN radio broadcaster Marc Kestecher, who was on the call of Celtics Nets yesterday. He's going to be with us in about 15 minutes. You can always get in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026, your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube Live. You can check in all of those different ways and get your comments in too. Hope you all had an enjoyable holiday weekend. We're right back at it today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
The opening thoughts in the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and by Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center. Locations at Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. The Celtics beat the Nets yesterday 115-114 at TD Garden, and they take a 1-0 lead in the best of 7 series. Celtics over the Nets. Let's relive it together. The Nets are up 114-113 with less than 35 seconds to play. They've got the ball with a chance to ice it.
Durant, shot clock at 2. Durant's got to put it up, gets it off in time. Off the mark, no good. Horford the rebound. Celtics have a timeout, decide not to use it here. Brown the drive. Jaylen Brown kicks it out. Smart fakes. Inside, Tatum spins.
So that's how game 1 ends yesterday at the buzzer. Tatum at the buzzer the spinning layup after that great pass from Marcus Smart. Tatum had 31 points in the win, none bigger than those two at the buzzer. It was a truly amazing sequence at the end of the game yesterday. An amazing sequence. Crew, can I hear it one more time? We're going to have Marc Kestecher on here from ESPN Radio in like 10 minutes. Can we hear Kesty's call of it? Let's hear the radio side.
Gets Smart off balance, goes to his left. Kyrie now dribbles into the lane, now stops on a dime, kept the pivot foot outside three to shoot to Durant. Durant against Tatum with one, rises, deep three, misses, rebounded by Horford. Shot clock off with 11 seconds to go, down one. Here we go, Jaylen Brown to the baseline with 6. Against Dragic, pass to Smart. Smart dribbles inside the arc to Tatum. Layup's good at the horn. Boston wins it. Jason Tatum at the horn. The Celtics take game 1.
What a game that was on Easter Sunday. Let's just run through a couple of thoughts on the game and then some thoughts on the final play here in a second. First and foremost, that was a great basketball game. That is what the playoffs are all about, and that is what makes sports great. You had a raucous environment. You finally had a full crowd at TD Garden in the playoffs with no COVID restrictions. The fans were out in full throat, just losing their minds. This game had everything that you could want. A great crowd. You had an unbelievable performance by an undeniable villain in Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was incredible with his 39 points. He's going at the fans. The fans are going at him. Yesterday was amazing theater. You had great storylines throughout the game in addition to all the Kyrie stuff. The Celtics played just great defense in the first quarter. I mean, they made life so uncomfortable for Durant. You know, Durant had like 4 or 5 turnovers in the first quarter. They made things real uncomfortable for him. Then you had the Nets be the team we all thought they would be, and they responded to the point where we're even at the half. You look at the stat sheet, and you look at the tape, you look at the film, and you feel like the Celtics should be dominating, but yet we're tied at the half. Then you get the Celtics run away with it in the third quarter. Then you get the Nets to come back on a 15-2 run to a point where they have a lead at the end. There was a villain. There were multiple heroes for the Celtics. The game was in doubt. Yesterday had everything that you could have wanted. It was an unbelievable game. And the last play was truly unbelievable because I want to play it one more time. Crew, can we play it one more time? Hold on 1 second. There's like 4 things that make the last play unreal. Let's hear it one more time.
Durant, shot clock at 2. Durant's got to put it up, gets it off in time. Off the mark, no good. Horford the rebound. Celtics have a timeout, decide not to use it here. Brown the drive. Jaylen Brown kicks it out. Smart fakes. Inside, Tatum spins, and he puts it out. So let's examine the 4 things that make that final play just so special. I guess is the right word. Special is the right word. First thing that needs to happen, the Celtics needed to get the stop. You're down 114-113 with less than 35 seconds to play. The Celtics need a stop. They didn't foul. The Celtics could have tried to foul enough to put the Nets at the line, but instead, they don't do that. They play defense. The best defensive team in the league for months decided to ride it out on defense against a team with Kyrie Irving, who had been incredible with 39 points, 18 in the fourth quarter, and against a team with Kevin Durant. It's a gutsy move because if Durant hits this 3... Durant, shot clock at 2. Durant's got to put it up, gets it off in time.
If he hits that 3, it's 118-114, and you have likely lost. That game is over if Durant hits that 3. But the Celtics get the stop. So they don't foul. They elect to play defense. They force Durant. You know, usually we say we want the ball out of Durant's hands. Well, it's in Durant's hands. They get the stop. They secure the rebound, and out they go. Simply getting the stop is the first ingredient in that play. And that is hard to do. And the Celtics did it. Then, Celtics have the ball. They're trailing by 1. They've got 10-ish seconds left. And Ime Udoka takes another risk. He'd already risked it by not fouling and playing defense seconds earlier. Now he risks it again. He doesn't use the timeout. More gutsy coaching. The Celtics end up winning with this helter-skelter play. It's a play that doesn't let the Nets defense get set, doesn't let them bring in different personnel. Ime Udoka just trusts his guys to make a play. He didn't call the timeout.
Defensively and taking down transition, not calling timeout, I tell the guys all the time, we have an advantageous position we're in. I won't call a timeout. If I don't like what I see, I'll call it then. But as you know, teams will get matched up and get the lineups they want in the game. Jalen had Dragic on him, and I love what he did. Drew 3 people, kicked it to Marcus. He drove fast, too, and we got a wide open shot.
Look, I don't know coaching-wise what the right answer is there. In this case, it worked, so not calling the timeout was the right answer. But I think it takes guts to not call the timeout, to not set up a play that will be nice and clean. Instead, Ime Udoka just trusts his guys to go out. And it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't clean. It wasn't even that well executed. It was just basketball. And Ime Udoka trusted his guys to play it just like he trusted his guys to play defense seconds earlier. I think Ime Udoka took 2 gambles, and they both paid off. We're not going to foul. We're going to trust that we can get the stop, secure the rebound, and get out in transition, and then we're not going to call the timeout. So that's 2 things that make that play amazing. The third thing that makes that play amazing, that is an incredible play by Marcus Smart. Absolutely beautiful. Smart gets the ball with about 4 seconds left. He knows time is running out. He knows that the urgency is ramping up. He knows at the very least you have to get a shot off. I would be in panic mode. He had a look from a few feet beyond the arc when he caught the ball, but he doesn't take it. He remained disciplined with the shot, with the clock running down and 2 nets flying in his face. He doesn't force the shot. He had the discipline to sell the pump fake, to not leave his feet himself. He gets the defenders to fly by past him, and then he has the wherewithal yet again to not force a shot. Because if that's me, if I've had the discipline enough the first time to not shoot it and then pump fake, once I get you past me, now I'm shooting. I'm like, whoa, I just beat the level. Now's the time for the shot because the clock is winding down. Instead, Smart, no panic the first time, no panic the second time, and with 2 seconds, he dishes it off to Tatum, and Tatum's able to make the game-winning play. I mean, Tatum makes the game-winning bucket. Smart makes the game-winning play. That is unbelievable. Doesn't shoot the first one when he had a look. Pump fakes. Doesn't leave his feet himself and get, an up and down. Gets 2 defenders to fly past him. Doesn't take the second shot. Gets it off to Tatum. Incredible play. For a guy who gets nothing but grief usually on offense, Marcus Smart, that was a clinic yesterday. And then finally, the fourth thing that just makes the play special, the awareness again of Jason Tatum. He had 2 seconds left when he caught the ball. He knew he had enough time to make a move. He also didn't panic. He also didn't rush. I think he felt where Kyrie was defensively on him, and he knew to spin off of him rather than just pull it as quick as possible. The whole final sequence was mesmerizing. The coaching decisions by Udoka, the patience of Jaylen Brown, the patience of Marcus Smart, the patience of Jason Tatum. It was amazing. Yesterday was amazing theater. And what we got afterwards with Kyrie was also amazing theater. This series is going to be a blast. If we get a few more games just like the one we had yesterday, we're all going to be pretty damn lucky to have witnessed it. Game 2, Wednesday night in Boston, Celtics 1-0 lead. It was a damn good game. It was a damn good win. And the guy who saw it courtside is ESPN Radio's Marc Kestecher. He gives us his take on what he saw yesterday at TD Garden. That's next on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, proudly supporting local government, local businesses, and WDEV.
Benjamin Moore paints offer long-lasting protection, beauty, and will enhance the value of your home. This is Dean Shedd at the Country Home Center. We only sell premium products, and we only offer premium service. The two go hand in hand. For years, we've chosen Benjamin Moore paint as our premium paint line. Professional painters also choose Benjamin Moore paints for the best results. Come see all the amazing colors and products in our Benjamin Moore paint department at the Country Home Center, junctions of Route 15 and 100, Morrisville, Vermont, or online at countryhomecenter.net.
Do you have chronic joint pain, like in your knees and hips? It's time to think about an exciting new way to treat joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions. I'm talking about QC Kinetics, now available here. Lots of people here have called QC Kinetics already. They are the nation's leader in helping people deal with chronic pain with no surgery, no drugs, no steroids, and no downtime. These natural pain treatments can actually repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with long-lasting results. I'm telling you, biologic solutions help your body heal itself. If you have joint pain due to arthritis, lower back pain, shoulder pain, you need to change the way you think about pain treatments and discover the biologic therapies at QC Kinetics. Get moving again. Get your life back with no surgery and no drugs. Call QC Kinetics now to learn more. 802-PAINLESS. That's 802-PAINLESS.
Did you know that Chips Auto in Randolph carries Nokian tires?
No kidding.
No, Nokian. Creators of the first snow tire. And Chips Auto sells, mounts, and balances them.
No kidding.
No, Nokian. And Chips Auto in Randolph has an alignment machine to keep your Nokian tires going straight.
No kidding?
No, Nokian. At Chips Auto. Full-service auto repair and tire services. Weston Street, Randolph. Online at chipsautoandtire.com.
At Northfield Savings Bank, we celebrate the ways you work and why you work. To build a business, to make a brighter future, to do something that matters. You don't do just one thing in your business. Neither do we. Whatever your size, you have goals for yourself and those around you. Our commitment is helping you get there. Builders, makers, doers. Northfield Savings Bank. Find out more about us at nsbvt.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on this Monday on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Celtics beat the Nets last night, late afternoon rather. Final score 115-114. The Jason Tatum bucket at the buzzer cemented the Game 1 win. And the guy who saw it all courtside for ESPN Radio was Marc Kestecher. And Kesty is with us now on the phone line. Marc, what a way to spend an Easter Sunday.
Brady, that was fun. We had a nice week-long road trip leading into that, couple of play-in games. And, if we're going to start Game 1 like that, that's quite a teaser for the rest of the series. Let's hope it lives up to that. But that was quite an Easter Sunday yesterday in Boston.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last night. We were just talking about this. We spent the whole first segment on that last play had so many things going on. Let me start with the Ime Udoka angle. Two things. One, he doesn't foul the Nets on their last possession. He trusts the Celtics to play defense, get the stop, and secure the rebound. And then he doesn't call timeout to set up a final play. He just lets the Celtics kind of go helter-skelter, and both decisions worked out for him. What'd you make of Udoka's coaching down the stretch?
Yeah, it was, the sequences in the last 45 seconds were so much to take in. I didn't have a stopwatch on PJ Carlesimo, my analyst, but it felt like he went for a couple minutes just dissecting every little thing that went down. And to answer your question, Brooklyn was, I don't want to say torching Boston defense. They were just making shots. Kyrie Irving was making shots. We had Marcus Smart as our post-game guest as soon as the thing ended, and he talked about trying to defend what he said in his words, the best point guard in the NBA, or one of the best scorers in the NBA. I forget how he phrased it, but being 20 feet from him and watching it, I know exactly what it means. You can do everything right in the defensive possession, and then Kyrie rises up, hits a three, or drives into guys, a foot taller than him and has an uncanny way of finishing. So, for Udoka to trust in his defense, and why not? I mean, they've been the best defense in the NBA for over 3 months. Even though they were getting torched earlier, that was huge. And then the next part, as you mentioned, they had the timeout. And I'm watching PJ out of the corner of my eye. I'm trying to focus on the game, obviously, because I know we got something big cooking here. But I could see PJ kind of windmilling like a third base coach. And I think he was agreeing, like, don't call the timeout, let's go. The Nets have not had a good defense all year. Teams traditionally, if you don't let them set up, they're going to be a little bit more staggered. And then on top of it, every single player, all 5 Boston players, touched the ball. I said it on the air after the game. I said 3 years ago Marcus Smart would have taken that shot. He might have said 3 months ago he might have taken that shot. But he stepped inside, drew 2 defenders, made a perfect pass to Tatum, who pirouettes and scores. And you're right, it's like the anatomy of 45 seconds. You could do like an hour documentary on it. And the decisions, those 2 big ones by Ime to play D, force a tough shot, and then not call timeout and don't let them set up their defense and then execute. I thought Marcus was taking that shot just because you panic a little when you're down to 2-1 seconds, and these guys don't panic. I mean, not only did Tatum catch the ball, but he spun, extends the arm, and still gets rid of it, before time expires. It was pretty amazing.
The Nets had a great stretch at the end of the first half to get back and tie the game going into halftime, and they certainly had a great stretch in the fourth quarter. But overall, I thought the Celtics defense played really physical, and they did seem to make life difficult. I don't know that I've ever seen Kevin Durant turn it over like 5 times in a single quarter, which I think is what happened yesterday in the first. What did you make of the Celtics' physicality and their temperament on defense?
Yeah, it was clearly the game plan was to be physical with him, to force defenders onto him as soon as he got into the paint. That's the adjustment going into game 2, is how Kevin Durant adjusts, because if they're going to collapse on him, he's got to be quick. I know he said it's a lot about footwork and he can do some individual things, but he's also got to take advantage of the breaking point, and that is if they're going to throw that much attention at him, he's got to find an open guy, and either they'll get it back to him for another shot, but it was just time after time. And in a very physical game in which the whistle seemed to blow every half second, you could tell he was frustrated, because there were times he thought that he was fouled and wasn't getting a call, but they never really adjusted. As you said, they got off a little bit in the fourth quarter, quite a bit in the fourth quarter, and in the second they had that run as well. But it was not a typical Kevin Durant day. And I agree with him. There were some shots that popped in and out that he's used to getting that, the rest of the league, would die for, to be able to, take tough shots and make them. Many of the ones he usually makes, he didn't yesterday. So I think he feels like some of that will even out, but I don't see how Ime Udoka goes away from that strategy, because it worked so well in the first game.
It's well established on this show, Mark, that I don't like ratings and I don't like power rankings, and anything ranked I'm not a huge fan of. So I can't believe I'm about to get sucked into this rabbit hole. But you mentioned what Marcus Smart said to you after the game. Last week, I think on Friday, Tim Legler said at ESPN that Kyrie is the most gifted offensive player in the NBA. You've seen just about all the great offensive players in the NBA. Where do you think Kyrie ranks on that list?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking current NBA, right?
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the best handle, he's, top 2 or top 3 at best. I still think, and I know he's 37 years old, but, Chris Paul is just an uncanny leader. He's not going to be that flash like Kyrie has, but if it's full package point guard, and it's remarkable at his age that he's had kind of this little second act here in Phoenix. Maybe it's apples to oranges, but they play the same position. But Chris Paul, especially clutch time, consistent clutch time, last 5 minutes, tight game. That's a guy who's been getting it done all season long. And, Kyrie has, been off, he's been on, and you could say it's, all about not being a full-time player until just a few weeks ago and not even playing at all except for January. But I get your point, though. In a vacuum, he's right there. If he's not one, he's 1A. And I think Ime told us yesterday, a few hours before tip, he called it craftiness. Like I said, how do you describe Kyrie? KD's got his height, his length, his ability to hit shots from anywhere. And he said, Kyrie, it's craftiness, because if he doesn't beat you with the long shot, he's got the handle. He's not afraid to go inside. He's just got a way of contorting his body, finding a little open space among players. And that's what makes him so great, despite all the, the other stuff off the court, and obviously now going back to places where he's played. And, the folks in Boston certainly haven't forgotten. So that's a whole nother sub-story to this series, which is just beginning.
Marc Kestecher, ESPN radio broadcaster. He's on the call of Celtics and Nets. We had game one yesterday. C's won that game. He's here with us on the Brady Farkas show now. Let's get to Kyrie's comments after the game. And I'm going to do more of this in the 6 o'clock hour. I'll just tell you quickly my slant on this. It feels hypocritical to me. On one hand, Kyrie is telling you he's offended by what is being said to him, and he's reacting because he's offended. But then in the next breath, he's telling you all is fair in competition and it's all in good fun. Both of those things can't be true from where I'm sitting. What's your read on what Kyrie is saying?
Well, I would like to know, and I said this yesterday, we have headsets on even during the breaks. We're not, near where the fans were getting a hold of them. I want to know what's being said, because to me, that's part of the equation here, too. I go to games as fans. I brought my daughter to games as a fan. And, to me, there are limits and there's out of bounds. There's good old-fashioned booing or, you stink. I can throw some other words in there, whatever. But, when you... I think there is a part where you go over the line, and it happens in every city in America. It happens in some cities more than others. And if it's over the line, which if it was, I think, the players have been so empowered in the league that they would point out, security would come, and they'd probably be tossed. So I don't know if it's too much and he's snapping, or, what the deal is. But, if it's just good-natured, old-fashioned ribbing, I just think it's a bad look when you start cursing, and we heard some cursing in the break that caught through our microphones from him to the fans. If it's, flashing the middle finger or the double bird that he's doing, it's not a good look, and he's going to get fined for that. If that hasn't posted already, it's going to post at some point today. I think it's, no doubt there's going to be a fine there, but it's only going to get worse. Someone pointed out to me, that was an Easter Sunday crowd. What's Wednesday night going to be like in Boston?
How incredible is it what Al Horford brought to the table yesterday in the absence of Robert Williams? He's not a guy that we're going to talk about a ton today, but he was up in some rarefied air yesterday with what he did at the age of 35.
Yeah, it's, we talked about Chris Paul's second act. This second stint in Boston has completely rejuvenated him. He was, what did he go to Philadelphia? Then he ended up in Oklahoma City after he left Boston. He's 35 years old, and he just found the right team. And then not only is Robert Williams out, but Daniel Tice picks up the early fouls and has to go to the bench. And he can still defend at a high level, underneath the basket. He could still float out to the perimeter and hit a big shot. 15 rebounds, and 6 of them on the offensive glass yesterday. So to me, that was pretty incredible, and it was a very important part of what they're doing. And to pick up Tice was just a brilliant stroke. For them to get him back probably was a mistake to let him leave in the first place, not even knowing what was going to happen with Robert Williams. So to have those two guys, and specifically Horford, as you said, that was pretty remarkable and a big part of the game for the Celtics, who needed just about every contribution he gave them.
How do the Celtics follow up and win game 2?
I think they got to figure that Kyrie's not going to shoot as well as he did in spurts, certainly not 18 in the fourth quarter. They just got to clean up their own game. They turned the ball over a little bit more than usual. Their defense is still really well. I think they figured Tice isn't going to get into the same foul trouble. The whistle probably won't be the same in game 2 because it was excessive in game 1. I think for me, usually the losing team has to make the adjustment, but either the Nets could have easily have won, right? Tatum doesn't get that shot off in time, or Marcus Smart's pass gets deflected, and we're all talking. It's a whole different story we're talking about with Boston dropping the first one at home. So I think the adjustment to me lays more at the Nets. I think the Celtics, you play your game, You hope there's some parts that'll be better. They didn't get much contribution off the bench. But to me, it's, will Kevin Durant make that adjustment? Because I figure they're going to play him similarly. And can Kyrie Irving put up the same kind of numbers he did? Seth Curry was a non-factor. Bruce Brown was a non-factor. And Patty Mills was a non-factor. They were fortunate Claxton and Dragic played as well as they did.
Marc Kestecher, ESPN radio broadcaster, on the call of the Celtics and Nets series. Game 2 is coming up Wednesday night from TD Garden. We're hoping for a similar result to Game 1. Kesty, appreciate the time and the perspective, and we'd love to catch up with you in the second round, because that would mean the Celtics are in the second round. So we'll hopefully do it again here this April.
Well, good luck to all Celtics fans. I root for the close games, but for folks in New England, if they'd like to see a 4-game sweep, I'm behind them on that as well, and hopefully we'll chat in the second round if that's the case. I have no problem with that.
Kesty, appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, Brady. Good chatting with you.
All right, Marc Kestecher, ESPN Radio, one of the best. I mean, the Kyrie Irving stuff is so layered because he is so good. What he did yesterday, what he's done throughout his career, he is just a magician. But the things that he says, the things that he does that run contrary to each other are so infuriating. His thoughts after the game, there are some real good points in what he said. There's also some stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So appreciate Kesty's perspective. We're going to get the CBS News update, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to dive into it. Kyrie Irving unplugged after the game. What did he say, and what are we buying, and what are we selling? That's next on the Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 90 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Dell Small Business.
I'm Matt Piper in New York. Americans are still in the middle of spring break, and a federal judge says no more masks on public transit. It's a ruling over a lawsuit filed last summer.
The suit was filed last July by a Florida group called the Health Freedom Defense Fund. The judge's ruling says the mask mandate exceeds the authority of federal health officials and that the CDC failed to follow proper procedures and justify its decision. The CDC recently extended the mask mandate. It was set to expire today. There's been no comment yet from the Justice Department on whether or not the government will appeal. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
I'm Stephen Portnoy. The White House took a cautious approach to the ruling, with the press secretary saying it was still being reviewed by administration officials.
I don't have any update. This just came out through the courts just this afternoon.
But Jen Psaki says regardless of whether the mandate is blocked, the CDC's guidance should still be followed.
It's safer for individuals who are flying to continue to wear masks. So we would say to anyone sitting out there, we'd recommend you wear masks in the airplane.
The Pentagon says Russia is shifting its focus and trying to overcome recent logistical and control challenges, among other losses, as it zeroes in on the Donbas region of Ukraine. Spokesman John Kirby says American forces will train Ukrainians on new equipment.
It'll be more of a train-the-trainers kind of environment, so it'll be a small number of Ukrainians that will be trained on the howitzers, and then they'll be reintroduced back into their country to train their colleagues.
3 mass shootings over the Easter holiday weekend cap a months-long spate of gun violence. Experts are weighing in on why the increase.
A shopping mall, a house party, a nightclub. All 3 experienced violence during the Easter weekend. At the house party in Pittsburgh, 2 teenage boys were killed. James Allen Fox is a professor of criminal justice at Northeastern University. He says much of the violence is the result of gang activity.
We've seen gang violence increase. And to some extent, that can be linked to the fact that the terrific gang interdiction efforts of the past, we perhaps have let up a bit.
Many of the programs were cut back during the pandemic. Steve Futterman, CBS News.
The calendar says spring, but here comes the snow. More from CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
Snow falls right now in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, and that snow is going to continue for the next several hours, frankly, even into tomorrow.
Back to our top story, and this just in from the White House saying, quote, today's court decision means the CDC's public transit masking order is not in effect at this time. Therefore, the TSA will not enforce its security directives and amendments requiring mask use on public transit. The Dow today lost 40. This is CBS News.
Dell Technologies advisors are here with the right Windows PC and tech solutions so you can stop at nothing for your customers. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Westview Meadows and the Gary residence are great places to live, but they're also great places to work. They're currently hiring personal care attendants, wait staff, and dishwashers. Want to know what it's really like to work at Westview Meadows? Let's hear what current staff members have to say.
I'm really fortunate to work here and have all of these people in my life.
It's a really great environment to work in, and it doesn't matter what position you have here. We're all one big happy family. There's a lot of laughter here with the residents and the staff. It's wonderful to look forward to going to work.
I don't believe I've ever worked in a place that just felt so supportive. Everyone here is just so positive and happy.
It's like a family. It's not a job. It's family.
If you want to work in a supportive team environment, consider a career at Westview Meadows or the Gary residence. Go to westviewmeadows.com to download and complete the application, or resumes can be sent to hr@westviewmeadows.com.
The car, truck, and SUV challenge is going strong at Lamoille Valley Chevy. Folks, Dan is right. Earlier this year, we have challenged our teams to sell and order over 700 vehicles by the end of April, and with 588 so far, we still have work to do. Until the end of April, with a purchase, lease, or order of any newer pre-owned vehicle at Lamoille Valley Chevy, you'll leave with a $500 fuel card today. You heard that right. Even if you have to wait for your ordered new Chevy, you get a $500 fuel card today. You can choose between a home heating fuel card or a gas card to be used at the pump. Plus, we want you to know that as the largest Chevy truck dealer in Vermont, we are prioritizing all of our special orders to get you your new Chevy as fast as possible. In the meantime, $500 of your fuel cost is on Lamoille Valley Chevy. You'll find one of the best selections of new and certified pre-owned Chevys, plus many clean late model Toyotas, Hondas, and Subarus ready for immediate delivery, and all of them include a $500 fuel card. So drive just past Stowe and Morrisville to the beautiful town of Hyde Park, Vermont, and the car, truck, and SUV challenge happening now at Lamoille Valley Chevy.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show, right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Thanks very much to Marc Kestecher of ESPN Radio for stopping by. When the show is over, the full interview will be available on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel, so always appreciate an opportunity to catch up with Kesty, and the full show podcast will also be available. Just search for the Brady Farkas Show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can check us out there for free every single day. All right, let's get into these Kyrie Irving post-game comments. There's a lot to get to, and I will tell you this right out front. Two things can be true at the same time. This is my new mantra. Two things can be true at the same time, and two things are true here. On one hand, Kyrie Irving is right. That, to me, is true. What Kyrie Irving is saying is correct. But what's also true is that Kyrie Irving is a hypocrite. Both of these things are true at the same time. Let's examine what Kyrie says. So if you didn't see the story, here's what we've got. Kyrie is getting ribbing from the fans as usual in Boston. There was a scene where Kyrie's got his hands behind his head, and, so the crowd can see his hands. He's flipping the double bird at Celtics fans. So Kyrie was asked basically about that interaction after the game.
I'm I'm used to all these antics and people being close nearby. It's nothing new when I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, when people start yelling, bitch, and you, and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take as a competitor. And, we're the ones expected to be docile and be humble and take a humble approach. That's the playoffs. this is what it is. You know, I know what to expect in here, and it's the same energy I'm giving back to them.
So that's clip 1. But then in the same breath, in the next thought, this is clip 2.
It is what it is. I'm not really focused on it. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? And like again, where I'm from, I've dealt with so much. So coming in here, you relish it as a competitor. And this is, you know, I'm going to keep repeating myself when I say again, but this isn't my first time at TD Garden. So what you guys saw and what you guys think is as entertainment, or the fans think is entertainment, all is fair in competition. You know, so if somebody's going to call me out of my name, I'm going to look at them straight in the eye and see if they really about it. Most of the time, they're not.
So in the first clip, Kyrie Irving is basically telling you that he is taking this stuff personally. He's telling you that. And I don't have a problem with that. He's saying, look, if I'm going to get treated this way, I'm going to give you the same energy back. That's what he's telling you. And the reason why he's giving that same energy back is because he's incapable of letting it just roll off his back. He is saying that he's going to give it. He's not just going to take it. He's clearly showing you that this bothers him, that this elicits a reaction from him. And if he is going to get this, then he feels it's fair to give it back. And I agree with him. Athletes should not be subjected to awful treatment. But if you feel that way in clip 1, where athletes are, you know, athletes get this grief and we're expected to be docile, nah, screw that. If that is your attitude, then don't turn around in clip number 2, 15 seconds later and tell me it's all in good fun, it's all fair in competition, that this is entertainment. Both of these things cannot be true. They are conflicting ideas. If all is fair in competition, if it's all in good fun, if it's all entertainment, then you've got to rise above everything, and you can't be flipping the double bird. If you're truly offended by it, if it truly bothers you, then it is not all fun and games. You cannot tell me both things. Listen again to Kyrie in clip 1.
It is what it is. I'm not really focused on it. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? And like,
that's the wrong one. This is clip 1.
I'm from, you know, I'm used to all these antics and people being close nearby. You know, it's nothing new when I come into this building, what it's going to be like, but it's the same energy they have for me, and I'm going to have the same energy for them. And it's not every fan. I don't want to attack every fan, every Boston fan, but, you know, when people start yelling, bitch, and you, and all this stuff, it's but so much you can take.
When people start yelling awful names at me, there's only so much you can take. So Kyrie is telling you right there that when these things get said to me, it affects me. And by the way, I agree with him. That would affect me as well. It would affect you also. So Kyrie has told you there's only so much you can take, and we're expected to take everything. And he says, no, screw that. I don't have to take that. So I am going to respond. He is responding because he's clearly bothered by it. So if that is your position, then that is your position. Do not turn around. Next thought.
It is what it is. I'm not really focused on it. It's fun.
It's not fun. It can't be both. It cannot be so bothersome to you that you feel it's inappropriate and screw that. It can't be that and then also be, nah, it's not. It's all in good fun. It's an entertainment. I'm gonna call you out. We're gonna have fun with it. Cannot be both. So as I said at the beginning, 2 things can be true. 1, Kyrie Irving is right. Athletes are subjected, in my opinion, to too poorly of treatment. But on the other side, it's also true that Kyrie is a hypocrite. His 2 thoughts are conflicting with each other. If it's all in good fun, then it shouldn't offend you. If it offends you, then it can't be all in good fun. You cannot have this both ways. I want to expand on Kyrie's first point. I do think that Kyrie is right. I do think that athletes are subjected too often to improper treatment. I am not one of these people that thinks just because an athlete makes a lot of money that they have to take everything from the crowd. I do not subscribe to that theory. Earlier in the year, we were talking on the high school level, right, about how these schools in Vermont were getting rid of jeering, and I ripped them for that. I believe that athletes can take "you stink" or "air ball," or "man, Kyrie, I can't believe you're making $200 million. You're 3 for 15 today." I think that stuff is all in fairness. Your paycheck dictates that you can take that. Your paycheck being large does not mean you have to be subjected to racial slurs, religious slurs, slurs about your family, slurs about really dark parts of your past necessarily. You don't, just because you make a lot of money does not mean that you deserve to be called egregious names. And we don't know exactly what is being said to Kyrie Irving, but I'm going to gather that tough guy in the front row who's 6 beers deep, who's got a lot of money himself, isn't just saying, "Hey, Kyrie, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat." I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a whole lot worse than that. And then other drunk guy next to that guy gets involved, and now it becomes a tag team. I'm going to guess it's a whole lot worse than, again, you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. So I'm with Kyrie. You should not have to take that. There is only so much that one person can take. He's going to get fined because of the level of decorum that the NBA requires you to have. I frankly would say 50 grand, whatever, well worth it. If you're going to go to these levels, then I don't feel like I have to just rise above it because I'm the athlete. I do not believe that. So I think that Kyrie Irving is right to be offended. I think he's right that athletes get too much thrown at them. Just because they're rich, just because they're famous, does not mean that they have to take the things that get said to them far too often. They don't deserve to have beer thrown on them from places. They don't deserve to have their mother or their wife talked about. I don't think that's just part of the job. Where in the job description for Kyrie Irving or NBA player does it say, be subjected to horrible treatment night in and night out on the road? Where does it say that? Kyrie Irving making a lot of money, it matters. But you know where it matters? Hey, Kyrie, we pay you a lot. We need you to go to this Christmas event in town. Hey, Kyrie, you're paid a lot. We need you to show up at the local soup kitchen and help out there. Hey, Kyrie, we pay you a lot of money. We need you to be an ambassador for our season ticket plans. That's what Kyrie's outside of just being a good basketball player, Kyrie's contract dictates he do all of that other stuff. It does not mean he gets subjected to awful treatment on the road. I agree with Kyrie, but you cannot then be a hypocrite and tell me it's all good fun, because it's not to you. And this goes back to the problem with Kyrie that I have and so many others have. Kyrie does not have any self-awareness. Did you hear what he said last week before any of this ever even went down? Before any of this went down yesterday, Kyrie said, and I quote, "I hope we could move past my Boston era and reflect on some of the highlights I left at TD Garden that they can replay. Move forward. Just a new paradigm, baby." Kyrie has a complete lack of self-awareness. Kyrie Irving was here for 2 seasons. 2 seasons is not a lot of time to create all the memories that he seems to think that he made here. He acts like he was in Boston for a decade. He wasn't. He didn't produce countless memories. I mean, seriously, Kyrie was here for 2 years, and I can't remember one signature positive moment for Kyrie or one signature game. I can't. Like, I guess Kyrie had 37 in a playoff game for the Celtics. I don't even remember it. That tells you how stained his time in Boston was. I can remember Isaiah Thomas signature moments because IT endeared himself. Kyrie didn't. He is delusional in some of his thinking. He wants us to remember the good times in Boston. What good times? I remember he missed the entire playoffs his first year in Boston. Are those good memories? Those are the ones you want us to talk about? I remember do you want us the good memories where you went 7 for 22 against Milwaukee, and then the next night you went 6 for 21 and 1 for 7 from 3, and the Celtics got eliminated? Are those the good memories you want us to remember? You want us to play the highlight over and over again of how you stood up at TD Garden and said, I want to get my number retired here, and then you bolted in free agency? Do you want me to play back the hits of how you divided the locker room and isolated the veteran players from the young players? What good memories do you want us to focus on as a fan? What bothers us all about Kyrie is the lack of self-awareness. You can't have it both ways yesterday. It can't be so offensive to you and be all in good fun. That doesn't go together. And then when he says, I wish we could focus on the positive highlights I made in Boston. What positive highlights? What, seriously, I remember him ducking out on Cleveland games a bunch. I remember him dividing the locker room. I remember him stinking against Milwaukee, and I remember him missing the entire playoffs his first year. That's what I remember. And then I remember him leaving. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Phil in Middlesex says Kyrie starts all this stuff. No, he doesn't. Look, with the fans, trust me, there are punk and jerk fans everywhere, and punk and jerk fans will go at any athlete on any opposing team. Yes, there are some athletes that elicit a stronger response than others, but there's plenty of athletes who are good guys, good teammates, good family people who are going to get ribbed too. If you are a good player, you are going to get called out by some jerk fan. Aaron Rodgers, not necessarily that nice a guy. He's going to get it from the crowd. Russell Wilson, great guy, devout religious man. He's going to get it too. So these athletes don't bring it all on themselves. Maybe someone adds a little fuel to the fire, but every athlete is fair game to fans, and it shouldn't be that way. Let's stick with Kyrie, and let's get to who's saying what, which we do every single day.
Whoa. What did he say?
Mac Jones, good Lord. Mel Kiper's got to slow down on this. Mac Jones ain't going to work, folks. It's not going to work. He's got to come to terms with it. It's not going to work.
They really said that?
Every damn thing is politics and race, and I'm losing my mind over it.
It's time for Who's Saying What on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Yeah, Who's Saying What today brought to you by Vermont Laser Wash. That's the home of Vermont's unlimited car washes. So unlimited car washes begin at just $20 a month. If you want one free car wash to try it all out, just text the word Vermont to the number 30 and then 400. That's the number 30 and then 400. It's convenient for us that Kyrie had a great game on the court yesterday, because it leads me into something I wanted to bring about on Friday with regards to Kyrie. And we asked Marc Kestecher about this. But did you hear what Tim Legler of ESPN had to say about Kyrie last week? He said that Kyrie is the best offensive player in the league.
But when you just talk about flat out raw offensive attacking players, particularly just go get a basket, that's not crazy to say that right now Kyrie Irving's the best offensive player in the league.
I don't think that that's that far off. I really don't. Kyrie is a lot of irritating things, but he is also that dude offensively. Kyrie Irving is special offensively. I don't think that that's that far off of a comment. You know generally that I hate rankings. I usually hate conversations like this. And the reason why is because all of this stuff is so subjective. And in basketball, a lot of it is based on size. Like, Kyrie is not the most feared offensive player in the league because he's barely 6 feet. He's not the most dominant offensive player in the league because there are guys who are 7 feet like Giannis who can come at you like a freight train. And I would say he can be more dominant than Kyrie can. But Kyrie Irving is a true artist. I think Tim Legler is right. I think he is the most complete offensive package in the NBA. It is beautiful to watch him play basketball. That's why some of this other stuff is so damn frustrating, because he is so undeniably special with the ball in his hands. Regardless of all the other weird stuff that he does, he is an artist. I haven't seen a player in my life that plays the game quite like he does. Kyrie has a picture-perfect jump shot. He's got a beautiful handle. For his size, throughout his career, he's been able to get to the rim. Not many guys in my lifetime can even come close to that full package. Steph Curry's an artist. He doesn't get to the rim in the same way that Kyrie does. Allen Iverson was artistic in his own way, but there was a violence and a loudness to his game that Kyrie doesn't have. Kyrie is like a cellist. Allen Iverson was like a guy on bass guitar banging his head. Kyrie is like a cellist. It's just smooth. Ray Allen had the perfect jump shot. He didn't have the handle quite like Kyrie did. Giannis has the physicality and the intimidation and the finishing ability. He can't shoot it like Kyrie can. Dirk was beautiful to watch. He doesn't have the ball handling that Kyrie does. I mean, Durant is incredible. He's up there too in terms of most gifted and most feared in the NBA. But when it comes to it, I don't think Legler's that far off. Kyrie Irving is the complete package. I would go out on a limb and say, yeah, I think that Legler is right. That Kyrie is the most complete offensive player in the NBA. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Peter in Williston, going back to the game-winning play by the Celtics, says that Marcus Smart got two guys to jump in the air on a three-point shot fake was insane, because who in their right mind falls for that from a guy like Smart, who's a bad three-point shooter? That gave him the easy path to the lane. I'll defend the Brooklyn defenders here. Everybody gets a little panicky at the end of the game. There's 4 seconds left. They think that Marcus Smart is going to take that shot, and you're trying to not allow him to get the shot off. You're trying to alter his shot. I would have jumped also. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and when a guy catches the ball with a chance to get off a shot at the buzzer that could beat you, I too am going to jump at that. I can't knock the Brooklyn defenders. I absolutely would have done the same thing that they did. You're trying to do anything you can to alter what Smart is able to do. And it was a heads-up play by Marcus Smart to not take the shot. But I'm not going to knock the defenders for flying by him, because that's exactly what I would have done as well. All right, it is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Red Sox lose earlier today by a score of 8-3. Sander Bogaerts starting to get hot here over the weekend and into today as well. John Tomasi of NBC Sports Boston calls the contract offer the Red Sox allegedly gave to Bogaerts disgraceful. Are we going that far? Is it disgraceful? That's next on WDEV.
Hi, everyone. This is Jess Langlois
and Chief Meteorologist Dan Dowling
from the Channel 3 Max Advantage Weather Team, reminding you that every day we are tracking the weather and getting you the most accurate forecast
from the most experienced weather team tonight from 4 to 7 and at 11 p.m.
We forecast with straight talk and no hype,
so you can take advantage of the clear days
and have the advantage over stormy weather.
There's a 100% chance of accurate, experienced, and trusted forecast
tonight and every night from the Channel 3 Max Advantage Weather Team.
First in weather.
The following is paid for by Third Home. Do you own a vacation home? How would you like access to leverage it for world travel without the hassle or expense of renting? Third Home is the members-only luxury property and travel club that opens your world to exquisite rent-free travel. The Economist reported Third Home to be the secret to scoring a vacation home that's practically free. Find out how it works. Call for your free information now. 800-201-1894. 800-201-1894.
New message.
Hey, man, it's Devin. You know, from that time you accidentally emailed me because you thought I was a different Devin. Oh, and your email signature said confidential. If you receive this in error, please delete. That's so you. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat. When are we setting sail, Captain?
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Oh, and no, you did not receive this message in error.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Building materials are hard to find, but Cleveland Cedar Products in Wolcott has red cedar and hemlock clapboards, cedar shakes and shingles. Cleveland Cedar has a great variety of trim boards as well. No one will beat Cleveland Cedar Products' freestanding prices or quality. Family-owned Cleveland Cedar Products has over 30 years of siding experience. Talk to the experts. Cleveland Cedar Products, 3 miles west of Wolcott Village on Route 15 and online at cedarguy.com.
Now more than ever, Vermonters are eager to get out and about. And Vermont's outdoor recreation businesses and organizations are here to help. They build and maintain the trails we walk and ride. They grow and sell the local food that keeps us going and make and sell the gear that keeps us strong and safe. The Vermont Community Loan Fund is here to help Vermont's outdoor rec industry with our new Trails Loan Program, supporting outdoor recreation and those who make it possible. Trails offers financing and free business resources to help Vermont's trailblazing outdoor rec community grow stronger and more sustainable, generating jobs and energizing our rural economy. The Vermont Community Loan Fund, for over 30 years, Vermont's nonprofit business lending partner. Learn more about Trails and our other business lending programs at investinvermont.org. That's investinvermont.org.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, with a belief that local businesses like WDEV build strong communities.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Show brought to you in part by Pro Driver Training. That's Pro Driver Training, Vermont's premier truck driver training school, online at ProDriverCDL.com. That's ProDriverCDL.com. Facilities up in Enosburg and Milton, and they can help you with your Class A CDL, your Class B CDL, and passenger and advanced skills training as well. So we talked last week about the Red Sox situation with Xander Bogaerts, and I said, that last week, the Red Sox are at the intersection of smart business and bad business, and the Red Sox reportedly offered Bogaerts a $90 million contract over 4 years. Here's what John Tomasi of NBC Sports Boston had to say about this alleged offer.
I think it's disgraceful. I think it's John Lester all over again, and I actually do believe those numbers. If they're not exactly right, they're pretty close. And to be clear, it's not a 4-year, $90 million extension. He's already got 3 years and 60 on the books, unless he opts out. They were just going to tack on 1 year and 30 at the end of that. I don't even understand why you would make that offer.
That's basically what we said last week. That's basically what we said last Thursday. Now, we didn't use the word disgraceful, but we basically conveyed the same message. And I think it's important to note that Tomasi says he thinks those numbers are pretty close to accurate, because I had seen Lou Merlone say he didn't buy it. I saw Jared Carabas of DraftKings, who's a big-time Red Sox insider, say he didn't buy it. Tomasi is also pretty connected. So if he says he buys it, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So, again, we didn't call it disgraceful, but we did say that Bogaerts deserves better than that alleged offer. Tomasi went on.
whether you're Chaim Bloom, whether you're John Henry, somebody needs to recognize that that is not just pointless, it is counterproductive. Xander Bogaerts, say what you want about is he a second baseman long-term or a shortstop. He is an all-star. He is a franchise linchpin. He is a leader. He's everything you want. He's homegrown. And the market does not say that he is worth an extra $30 million at the end of his current contract. The market says at a minimum, he's getting the $7 and $175 that the Rangers gave Marcus Semien.
Yes, that is also what we said last week, and that's the exact comparative example that we used. Xander Bogaerts deserves better. I know you can't pay a guy solely for past performance, and I know it's show business and not show friends. But you have to take care of people that have taken care of you. You have to show respect to guys who have earned it. And what Tomasi said at the end of that clip is also important. The offer is insulting to Bogaerts in the context of what the marketplace is as well. Marcus Semien, who is 32 years old, got 7 for $175. Bogaerts has a better track record, and heck, you just gave Trevor Story, a guy who doesn't have the legacy that Bogaerts has, a guy who's not homegrown. You just gave him 6 for $140. How can you give an outsider with elbow concerns who's the exact same age as Bogaerts a bigger contract? You can't. I don't get that. Story, you're willing to give a 6-year deal that takes him to age 35, but you won't give Bogaerts a deal to make the same thing? It doesn't make any sense. It's a stupid deal, stupid offer, given what the market is paying, and it is insulting to give Story a better offer coming from the outside at the same age with a worse track record. I am at the point, and I want your thoughts on this. 802-585-3026. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. I am at the point where I really wonder if the Red Sox even want Xander Bogaerts to come back. And the reason I ask is because I felt this exact same way 8 years ago or whatever with the Yankees and Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano was going to do a huge deal from the Yankees, or a huge deal on the market, and the Yankees lowballed him. Now, they didn't lowball him in the same way because the baseball money was starting to get out of hand then, but they offered him 7 for $175. And I think the Yankees knew full well that Robinson Cano would say no, and they wanted to just be able to save face to their franchise by saying they tried. And then when Seattle signed Cano to 10 for $240, the fans would eventually turn on him and say he was greedy, and the Yankees could wash their hands of the whole thing. I wonder if the Red Sox are doing the exact same thing with Bogaerts, offering him a deal they know he'll say no to, just so they can look back at the fans and say, hey, we tried. Now, that might have worked with the Yankees and the Cano situation. I don't think that would work here. Because I think the offer from the Red Sox is allegedly so low that they come out looking bad here. I think if that was their plan, then their plan is ultimately going to backfire. Because you've offered him a deal that isn't even in the same ballpark as what Xander Bogaerts wants, what he deserves, and what others around his age have gotten. It is an insulting offer. Maybe the Red Sox are just trying to get Bogaerts to say no. Look, if they're prioritizing Devers and they don't want to spend on all three of them, that's one thing. But if you really want Devers and you really want Story, if you really want those two to commit to, then don't even offer Bogaerts the deal. But if that is your plan, you have to be sure that you're going to get Devers, and you better be willing to go all in. And right now, they haven't been willing to go all in. If your plan is we got Story and we'd rather have Devers, then don't even offer Bogaerts this insulting offer. Because if you just want him to say no, then don't even give him the chance. Just go get Devers and go all in. And right now, they haven't done that. And I like also what Tomasi had to say.
Whether you're Chaim Bloom, whether you're John Henry, somebody needs to recognize that that is not just pointless, it is counterproductive.
Somebody needs to recognize that this isn't the way you do good business. Who's going to be the grown-up in the room that balances the checkbook goals with the personal relationship side of things? Who's going to be that guy in the Red Sox power structure and in their hierarchy? Who's going to be the guy that says, I know we have financial goals, but we've also got real people here. They're not just people. They're not just numbers on a spreadsheet, names on a spreadsheet. Who's going to be that guy? Is it John Henry? Is it Sam Kennedy? Is it Tom Werner? Or is it Chaim Bloom? Somebody's got to be that guy. And then I think this might be our last Red Sox contract grief segment here for a while. But it is interesting. Did you see this last Friday that Rob Bradford of WEEI had it, that Nathan Eovaldi is not willing to discuss a contract extension in season? Eovaldi not willing to discuss a contract extension in season. That is usually the case. Athletes usually don't like to do money stuff during the season. But this is odd because just 10 days ago, Eovaldi said before opening day, I guess 11 days ago, he said before opening day, he was willing to discuss a contract extension in season. We have the audio from it from April 8th. Here's what Eovaldi had to say.
We didn't have a chance really to talk about it. I don't know if it was in the plan or not. I'd be willing to, but again, I want to make sure I go out there and focus on what I have to do. And as long as I'm able to go out there and take care of, my business out there, it should make it easier for them to make the decision that they choose.
So he says, I'd be willing to. On April 8th, Nathan Eovaldi says, I'd be willing to talk in season. Now he's not. My question is, what's changed? What has happened here? Why would Nathan Eovaldi be willing to discuss a contract extension in season on April 8th, but on April 15th, when Rob Bradford reports that he's no longer willing to, or that he's not willing to, what has happened? Because something must have happened. What is it? Why would a guy be willing to discuss a contract extension in season on April 8th, but not on April 15th? I've got a few theories on what has happened here. Theory number one is that maybe his agent has just simply said that he should feel that way. Maybe his representation could have told him to not worry about this in season so he could go out and focus on the season, and then after the season we'll deal with it. Maybe his agent just said, hey, I know what you said. Just backtrack on that. Let's worry about it after the season. You go do you, and we'll try to get you as much money as we can. Maybe his agent said, look, I appreciate what you said. Let's table this. That's possible. Two, I think it's possible that Eovaldi has seen his teammates back off negotiations with the Red Sox. He's seen Devers back off. He's seen Bogaerts back off. And he's decided that he doesn't want to be the teammate that goes and bucks the trend. Like, if those guys are cutting them off, then I'm cutting them off. Some kind of brotherhood play. He doesn't want to be the guy who's looking selfish in season talking a contract extension when those around him are not. If that's the case, I would disagree with that way of thinking. You got to take care of yourself. In this game, you've got to take care of yourself. You really do. If you think you can get something done and you want to get something done, then you do it. You may think you're being a brother in arms by not talking contract like the other guys aren't talking contract, but I wouldn't think that's the right move. Take care of you, because every day that Nathan Eovaldi waits, you risk injury, you risk poor performance. Like, if you want to stay, then I wouldn't delay it if I don't have to. If Nathan Eovaldi wants out, then by all means, doesn't matter. But Nathan Eovaldi has given the indications that he wants to stay in Boston. If that is in fact the case, I'd be more than willing to go to the table. Because if I wait until October, I could have had a bad year, and now I've cost myself money. They may not want me. I could get injured and now not be worth a lot. If Eovaldi is holding out of these talks just to look like he is a good teammate with his guys, I don't think that is the right way to do things. I just don't think that would be smart. Like, if you don't make the decision to make others feel better, just do what you have to do. And in theory number 3, I guess, is maybe he's just mad. Or, I mean, really, maybe it's that simple. He's like, I was willing to talk. They didn't reach out to me in spring training. They're jerking around our other guys here. I don't want to deal with them right now. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Anything is possible. But it is interesting that a week ago or 10 days ago, Nathan Eovaldi is willing to have a conversation about his contract, about his future, and now he is not. Something had to have happened. I don't know what it is, but something had to have happened. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Red Sox lose today to the Twins. Final score 8-3. We'll give you the highlights and our reaction. That's next on DEV.
With Marvin, selecting the best window and door products has never been easier. From design styles and materials to window and door options that enhance performance, Marvin offers quality replacement products that stand the test of time. Let our Marvin specialists at Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber help make your next replacement project a success. We offer convenient curbside delivery in St. Albans, Enosburg, Swanton, Derby, and Middlesex. Shop, order online, get updated store hours anytime at sticksandstuff.discovermarvin.com.
The car, truck, and SUV challenge is rocking at Lamoille Valley Ford. Earlier this year, I challenged my 3 teams to sell and order over 700 vehicles by the end of April. With 588 delivered and 112 to go, we're pulling out the stops and doing everything that we can to make deals and reach our goal at Lamoille Valley Ford. Listen to this. With the purchase, lease, or order of any new or pre-owned vehicle at Lamoille Valley Ford, you'll leave with a $500 fuel card today. You can choose between a home heating fuel card or a gas card to be used at the pump. Plus, I want you to know that as one of New England's largest Ford dealers, we're prioritizing all of our special orders to get you and your new Ford as fast as possible. And in addition to the $500 gas card, you'll also get an additional $1,500 order incentive from Ford.
Thanks, Dan. And folks, as always, you'll find the largest selection of new and certified pre-owned Fords in the state at Lamoille Valley Ford. And all of them include a $500 fuel card. So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 at Hardwick and the car, truck, and SUV challenge happening now. And remember, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we know price matters.
Hi, my name is Marc Patterson, and I work as a personal care attendant at Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice. I've worked at Home Health for 16 years. What I love about my job is that it actually matters to someone besides myself that I show up, and that I make people's lives better. I know at the end of the day, my time is not wasted. CVHHH is hiring personal care attendants to support private care clients at home. In this role, you will bring positive social interaction, warmth, and emotional support to your clients at home. You will ensure your clients' comfort and safety by providing support with essential tasks like light housekeeping and laundry, meal preparation, cooking, and help with personal care. At Home Health, you will join a supportive and close-knit team of personal care attendants and have the support of your supervisor. You will also have day-to-day support from the team scheduler, case managers, and client care coordinator. Wages start at $15 an hour. Join me and make a difference in the Central Vermont community. Learn more and apply at cvhhh.org.
Hi, everyone. This is Jess Langlois.
And Chief Meteorologist Dan Dowling
from the Channel 3 Max Advantage Weather Team, reminding you that every day we are tracking the weather and getting you the most accurate forecast.
From the most experienced weather team tonight from 4 to 7 and at 11 p.m.
We forecast with straight talk and no hype.
So you can take advantage of the clear days
and have the advantage over stormy weather.
There's a 100% chance of accurate, experienced, and trusted forecast
tonight and every night from the Channel 3 Max Advantage Weather Team.
First in weather.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Reminder, no Jazz with George Thomas tonight. We've got the VT Digger debates going on here as the battle wages on for the U.S. House seat that's being vacated by Representative Peter Welch. So that begins. We'll have the coverage for you right at about 7:10 here on WDEV. Patriots Day Baseball, a great day in Boston. Marathon Monday, Patriots Day traditional 11 a.m. game for the Sox. A great pageantry, not a great result. Sox beaten by the Twins in Game 4, the 4-game set, by a score of 8-3. The Red Sox split the 4-game set at 2-2. They lose on Friday and Monday. They win the 2 middle games, winning on Saturday and Sunday. Here's how it went down. Again, Twins win it 8-3. They made it 2-0 right away. This one happened in the top of the first with Kyle Garlick at the plate.
Here's the pitch on its way, and he swings it, drives one to left field, back by the wall, and it hits the top of the wall. It stays in play, grabbed on right off the fly by Verdugo. It's a double for Garlick, and that ball was very close to hitting that red line.
Yeah,
I would think they will.
I think it did hit it.
Yeah, I think it hit those that top of the wall, that material that protects the fans. That's actually a home run.
Yeah, it was a home run. The umpires, well, they convened, they conversed, and they called it a homer. So that made it 2-0. Then it was 4-0. A couple innings later, Jorge Polanco off Rich Hill.
0-2 the count on Polanco. Batting from the right side, open stance. Pretty good lead for Celestino. Rich Hill delivers. High fly ball, left field, pretty well hit. Back at the wall, Verdugo and Hernandez, and they watch it go into the monster seats for a home run. The left center. Second home run of the game for Minnesota. This one from Jorge Polanco, his second of the year. Rich Hill just shaking his head and staring up into the sky.
Yeah, that made it 4-0. Red Sox will get a couple of back to make it 4-1 as Christian Vasquez brought in a run with a RBI ground out.
Bundy deals, and there's a ground ball hit to the shortstop and again a run home, but a 2-man out.
And then Vasquez continued on with providing the Red Sox offense. He homered. Let's see. Vasquez's first home run of the year came. Magic button. How about here? Thank you.
Vasquez lifts one toward the wall and left. High and deep and gone. Into the first row of the monster seats. In left center field, line shot that had just enough altitude to get out of here. And the Red Sox back within 2 now. It's 4-2 on the dinger by Vasquez.
Yeah, that made it 4-2, and then the wheels fell off in the in the 8th inning. Yeah, there was a wild pitch by Cutter Crawford that made it 5-2. Then Jorge Polanco singled again. That brought in 2 runs. That made it 7-2. So let's see. Polanco did endless damage here against the Red Sox. There we go. That's fun. Going to sneeze in here, everybody. My apologies. Here's Polanco.
Here's the pitch, and he swings and hits a hard shot on the ground in the right field for a base hit. 2 runs cross the plate. And the Twins now lead it 7-2. And we threw him another cutter there.
Yeah, that made it 7-2. Then there was another wild pitch that made it 8-2. And then the Red Sox, for good measure, they got 1 run back in the 9th inning, a Xander Bogaerts single there to, again, give us our final score of 8-3.
Ground ball up the middle, and a diving stab by Polanco throws from the ground too late. A run scores, and it's 8-3.
And that's how we finish up. So Sox will fall 8-3. They'll move to 5-5 on the season, and Sox will take on the Blue Jays tomorrow, a 3-game series beginning at Fenway. Tomorrow our coverage begins at 6:10. As for today, looking at the box score and giving you some of your final statistics, Twins 8 runs on 9 hits. For the Red Sox, 3 runs. They actually out-hit Minnesota. They had 11 hits. Neither team had an error. Bogaerts 3 for 5. Verdugo 2 for 3. He stays hot. Vasquez 2 for 4 with those 2 ribbies. For the Twins, top of the order did all their damage. Polanco 2 hits. Correa 2 hits. Gio Urshela had 3 hits, and Garlick had the homer. The Twins in spots, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8 had no hits, and they had 1 hit from the 9-hitter. So their bottom of the order did absolutely nothing. The Red Sox didn't get enough from their top of the order. Kike 0 for 5, Devers 1 for 5, so 1 for 10 out of those spots. The Red Sox are going to need more, obviously, from those guys, and they will, although Kike right now struck out 3 times today, 163 average right now through 10 games. So the Sox at 5-5, and all in all, you got to say it's a disappointing weekend. When you're at home and you have a chance to win a series, it's disappointing when you come out with a split. Now, they did not lose the series, but the Twins are a team that's under 500. Again, very early. I actually think the Twins' profile to be pretty good this year. But if you have a chance to win a series at home, you've got to be able to capitalize, and the Red Sox couldn't. Last year, the Red Sox capitalized early on all of their opportunities, with the exception of the getting swept by Baltimore the first series of the year. This year, Red Sox have to find a way. They have to find a way to capitalize. This division is too good for you to be not taking advantage of full opportunities. And you had a chance to win 3 or 4 from a team right now that's dealing with injuries. Sonny Gray's on the IL. Byron Buxton didn't play. You got this team that is kind of reeling at the moment in Minnesota, and you weren't able to stomp on them. And the same questions that we have had reared their ugly heads today. Is Rich Hill really an answer in the rotation? And what about the bullpen? Because I think they said it appropriately on the broadcast. You trust Diekman right now. You like Strom. And you feel generally great about Whitlock. After that, Sawamura hasn't been great. Barnes, we still don't know about. Crawford today was not good. The bullpen, you saw the worst of the Red Sox today. Questions in their rotation, questions in their bullpen. Offensively, they weren't able to out-hit those questions today. I do have to give Rich Hill a ton of credit today, though. Rich Hill pitching just days after the death of his father, that takes incredible courage to me and an incredible emotional strength. I don't think that I would have been able to do it. Thank God I have not been put in that position as my dad is still around. I don't think I could do it, though. I think it takes unbelievable mental toughness, unbelievable mental fortitude to go out and compete. And Rich Hill, I know he's going to compete. I don't know if he's a long-term. I don't think he was certainly not a long-term answer at age 42. I don't know that he's really the answer for this year's Red Sox team. But regardless of that, I know he's going to battle. And he went out there today on what was a very emotional day. By all accounts on the broadcast, they were saying how close Rich Hill was to his father. His father ran the Boston Marathon 37 times. And Rich Hill gets the start on Patriots Day, on Marathon Monday, on a day that certainly meant a lot to his family. Rich Hill had to go out and bottle up all those emotions and go out and pitch a Major League Baseball game. And really, the Garlic homer was so on the fence, they had to really go and talk about it. You kind of look at it and say, the one swing by Polanco, that was really just the one. Hill, again, did not pitch that poorly. Had a little bad luck with the Garlic ball. Still gave up some hard, loud contact, but he didn't seem to pitch all that poorly. But again, there are questions. Dylan Bundy gets the win for the Twins. He went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run. Joe Smith, the veteran, threw 2/3 of an inning, and then Duran, the young flamethrower, pitched 1 inning, and then Griffin Jacks threw the final 2. He did give up 5 hits for the Twins and that 1 run. Red Sox hitters struck out 12 times today, though, and walked just twice. That's going to do it for us on the Brady Farkas Show. Shorter show tomorrow. We're kind of into some of these shorter shows lately, or coming up soon here. So we'll be on 5:30 until 6:10 when the Sox take on the Jays. That's a big one at Fenway. 7:10 first pitch, 6:10 on our coverage. We'll take you right up until the official pregame show. Go download the podcast, everybody. The VT Digger debates are next on DEV.
At Union Bank, we've been traveling the back roads and main routes of Vermont